They say gemstones carry energy, power, beauty, and fortune, but some stones were never meant to be touched. Across centuries, archaeologists, kings, and collectors have all chased the same shimmering prize, only to vanish, go mad, or die whispering the name of what they found. From diamonds that drown their owners in sorrow to rubies that breathe like living hearts, these are not the treasures of the earth. They are its warnings. Each of these 10 gemstones carries a story too dark for museums, too cursed for the hands of the living, and even demons, symbols of greed and temptation, are said to refuse them. Tonight we open the vault. You'll see the stones that kings hid, priests sealed, and scientists still fear to name. So if you dare step into the light that no one should follow, welcome to Gem Talks. Before we begin, if you believe legends hide truth, save this video so you can finish it later. And leave any comment, even just a word, so I know you're here. Because your presence in this journey is the only thing keeping the darkness from being forgotten. Rank number 10. The celestial garnet, the star that fell from hell high in the Andean highlands of Chile, inside a long-extinct volcanic crater near San Pedro de Atacama. Miners once discovered a stone that didn't seem to belong to this world. It wasn't found. It fell. Locals said it arrived in the night sky like a meteor, shattering into the mountains, leaving behind fragments that glowed faintly under moonlight. That was the birth of the legend of the celestial garnet, a gemstone believed to be a piece of a fallen star, or a demon that never reached heaven. Unlike ordinary garnets with their deep wine-red hue, the celestial garnet burns with a strange, molten crimson light, edged with streaks of black obsidian veins, as if the stone still carries volcanic fire in its core. Each crystal is shaped like a teardrop, jagged yet almost symmetrical, and when polished, it refracts light in a way that seems to pulse like a beating heart. Geologists describe it as a rare pyrope-almandine hybrid, born in extreme heat where molten rock meets compressed iron dust, conditions found only in a handful of volcanic belts on Earth. Miners in Atacama say it's almost impossible to extract without misfortune. The tunnels are unstable, equipment fails inexplicably, and some workers swear they've seen sparks flicker in the darkness, even when their lamps were off. Because of its danger and rarity, the celestial garnet is no longer mined openly. Only a few small fragments, often less than 2 carats, are cut and set into jewelry. A gem-quality piece commands $5,000 to $8,000 per carat, while larger stones, those with the inner pulsing glow, can reach $20,000 on private markets. Collectors call them the beating stones, claiming that when worn too long, the skin beneath them grows unnaturally warm. Scientists dismiss the legends as optical illusions, but among locals, one belief remains: the stone burns brightest when its owner's heart grows dark. If you found this story as haunting as it is fascinating, leave a comment. Would you dare to wear a gem said to have fallen from hell? And before we end, do you think nature ever meant to create beauty this dangerous? Or are some stones never meant to be found? Rank number 9. The Black Sun Quartz, the stone that devours light. Far to the north, in the frozen mines of Siberia, a group of geologists once unearthed something they couldn't explain. It wasn't gold, it wasn't diamond. It was a crystal so black that even under full light, it refused to shine. When they aimed their lamps at it, the beams didn't reflect, they vanished. That was the day the world first heard of the Black Sun Quartz, the stone that devours light. Unlike ordinary quartz that sparkles with clarity, this one drinks brightness like ink-absorbing flame. Its surface looks smooth from a distance, but under magnification, you can see tiny fractures, microscopic tunnels that seem to pull light inward instead of reflecting it. Scientists later identified it as a unique mix of hematite-infused quartz formed in the pressure chamber of a volcano that once sat beneath a prehistoric glacier. Those twin forces, fire and ice, created a mineral that should not exist. Miners in the Yakutia region feared it immediately. Every time they drilled near the veins, their lamps flickered and shadows deepened unnaturally. Old workers began calling it Sol Kyornogo Boga, the stone of the black god. They said it eats not only light, but luck, and strangely, within months of its discovery the mine collapsed, killing 3 men and sealing the tunnel forever. Only a handful of specimens escaped, taken by private collectors. When polished, the gem appears mirror-smooth, yet no reflection looks quite right. In certain angles, observers claim they see their own faces smiling back, even when they are not. Because of its rarity, genuine black sun quartz now sells for $8,000 to $12,000 per carat, though no major jeweler dares to cut it. The few pieces that exist are mounted in obsidian or titanium to contain the darkness. Still, one unanswered mystery remains. Under direct sunlight, the stone grows warm, as if something inside is awakening. If this story makes you wonder what else the earth is still hiding, leave a comment. Would you dare to own a gem that swallows the light itself? And before we go, do you believe darkness can be beautiful? Or is it simply the memory of the light it consumed? Rank number 8, the Ashen Pearl, the Tear of the Drowned Queen. Off the storm-torn coast of Cartagena, Spain, a salvage team once descended into the ruins of a 17th-century galleon, the Santa Lucia. The ship had been lost for nearly 300 years, carrying treasures of a queen who never made it home. Among the scattered relics, the divers found something small, almost insignificant. A single gray pearl, coated in ash-like residue, resting in the skeletal hand of a woman still bound to her throne. They called it the Ashen Pearl, the Tear of the Drowned Queen. Unlike normal pearls with their gentle luster, this one gleamed with a strange matte glow, as if the ocean had stripped away its beauty and replaced it with sorrow. Underwater cameras showed it shimmer faintly whenever thunder rolled above, a phenomenon scientists blamed on microcalcite luminescence, though no one had ever seen it before. The divers who touched it began having identical dreams, of drowning in black water while hearing faint singing in an ancient tongue. 2 of them quit the expedition. 1 never spoke again. When the pearl was finally brought to the surface, the ship's compass stopped working for 12 minutes, and every clock on board froze at 3:07 a.m. Historically, records show that Queen Isabella de Navarra, exiled and betrayed, wore a gray pearl said to mourn for her soul. She drowned at sea in 1641, on the very route where the Santa Lucia later sank. Whether coincidence or curse, the artifact seemed determined to keep her story alive. Today, the Ashen Pearl is kept in a private collection in Madrid, rarely displayed. Experts estimate its value between $1.5 and $2 million, though no buyer has ever completed the purchase. The few who tried either withdrew mysteriously or passed away before signing the papers. Collectors say that when it's held near water, tiny ripples appear on the surface, as if the sea itself remembers her. If this story of love, loss, and the sea's revenge moved you, leave a comment. Would you dare to wear a gem that cries for its last queen? And before we dive into the next mystery, do you think jewels can carry memory? Or are they merely mirrors for the souls that touch them? Rank number 7, the Sapphire of Sorrow, the Voice Beneath the Sea. In the depths of the Aegean Sea, just off the coast of Santorini, divers searching an ancient shipwreck uncovered a gem unlike any they had ever seen. It was a sapphire, but not the radiant sky blue of the Mediterranean. This one shimmered dark as midnight, its color shifting with the currents, as if the sea itself breathed within it. The divers named it the Sapphire of Sorrow, the Voice Beneath the Sea. The stone was encased in a gold pendant, its surface engraved with symbols of the sirens, the mythical beings whose songs lured sailors to their deaths. When brought to the surface, the pendant emitted a faint vibration, like the distant hum of a cello. Scientists recorded a frequency buried deep within, a rhythmic pulse eerily similar to a human heartbeat. Historical records trace the gem to Queen Callistrate of Thessaly, a ruler known for her obsessions with immortality. Legends say she commanded her jewelers to craft a sapphire using salt water from the deepest trench, believing it would let her hear the voices of the sea gods. When her ship sank during a violent storm in 328 BC, she and the gem vanished, until now. Under analysis, the sapphire of sorrow revealed traces of cobalt and vanadium, a composition unlike any other sapphire known to science. Its surface refracts light into spiral patterns, resembling waves viewed from above. But what unsettled the research team most wasn't its chemistry, it was its sound. At night, when the gem rested in salt water, hydrophones detected faint melodies, echoes resembling human voices. Today, the sapphire sits locked in a humidity-controlled vault in Athens. Its estimated worth is $2 to $3 million, but no museum dares to exhibit it for long. Guards report feeling drawn toward the ocean after night shifts. One even resigned, saying he dreamed nightly of walking into the waves. Perhaps beauty and tragedy share the same reflection, both born from longing. If this story makes you shiver, leave a comment. Would you dare to listen to a stone that sings beneath the sea? And before we surface, do you believe the ocean remembers, or does it simply whisper the names of those it keeps? Rank number 6. The Weeping Opal, the gem that cries blood. In the highlands of Ethiopia, where volcanic dust meets ancient riverbeds, local tribes whisper of a gemstone that bleeds beneath the moon. They call it the Weeping Opal, a stone said to carry the sorrow of a forgotten spirit, sealed beneath the earth for 1,000 years. It was first unearthed in 1910 near the settlement of Mezezo. Miners expected common opals, milky white, playfully iridescent, but what they found shimmered with deep crimson flashes like trapped lightning behind glass. Under daylight, it burned with golden fire. Under moonlight, droplets of red liquid seemed to form within, then vanish as if absorbed by the stone itself. Some said it was mineral condensation. Others swore it was blood. Local elders warned the miners to leave it buried. They told stories of a priestess executed for sealing her soul into a gemstone, a final act of revenge against the tribe that betrayed her. Those who ignored the warning suffered mysterious fevers and hallucinations of women crying in the dark. By the end of the season, the mine was abandoned, and no one ever reopened it. When British collectors obtained samples decades later, scientists confirmed the opal's composition was unique, containing hematite inclusions, giving the illusion of veins running through translucent fire. But no chemical explanation could account for the faint red condensation that appeared only under moonlight. Some geologists dismissed it as moisture reacting to temperature change. Others refused to comment at all. Today, only 3 weeping opals are known to exist, one in London, one in Dubai, and one hidden in a private vault in Addis Ababa. The last recorded auction price exceeded $1.2 million per carat, though buyers often return them, citing restless energy. Under the lens, the stone seems to tremble, not from heat or pressure, but something else, something alive. If this tale sent chills down your spine, leave a comment. Would you dare to own a gem that bleeds under the moonlight? And before we move to the next cursed relic, do you think beauty born from pain can ever truly bring peace? Rank number 5. The Obsidian Heart of Teotihuacan, the mirror that feeds. In the ruins of Teotihuacan, north of modern-day Mexico City, archaeologists once uncovered a mirror so dark it seemed to swallow the sun. It was carved not from glass, but from pure obsidian, the volcanic glass once used by Aztec priests in sacrifice and prophecy. They called it the Obsidian Heart of Teotihuacan, the mirror that feeds. The artifact was found in 1964, buried beneath the temple of the feathered serpent, surrounded by hundreds of obsidian blades and skeletal remains. At first glance, it appeared ceremonial, a polished black disc, perfectly circular, 22 centimeters wide. But under light, something strange happened. The mirror refused to reflect clearly. Instead, faces seemed to twist. Eyes shimmered where there were none, and shadows appeared where the observer stood. Historians traced it to the priest-king of Teotihuacan, who was said to use it to see beyond time, According to myth, he could summon spirits trapped within the mirror by feeding it with human blood, believing the glass hungered for reflection, not of light, but of souls. After his death, the mirror vanished from the records, until its rediscovery nearly 2,000 years later. When scientists attempted to clean the artifact, 3 researchers suffered identical hallucinations, a tunnel of light closing inward. One refused to enter the lab again. Today, it sits sealed in a climate-controlled vault, and no one has touched it bare-handed in decades. Optically, the stone is extraordinary. Forged from pure volcanic silica, it absorbs nearly 98% of visible light. Some physicists describe it as a natural void mirror, but local Nahua shamans say it's more than that, a mouth that remembers the light it eats. Replicas have appeared on the private market, but none hold the same eerie depth. If ever sold, the original could reach $3 to $5 million, though even museums hesitate to display it. When you gaze into it, you feel the strangest urge, not to look away but to lean closer. If this story unsettled you, leave a comment. Would you dare to stare into a mirror that looks back? And before we continue deeper into the shadows, do you think mirrors only reflect light, or do they also remember what they've seen? Rank number 4, the Widow's Diamond, the stone that demands a soul. In a forgotten vault beneath Paris, sealed since the 18th century, historians uncovered a velvet case wrapped in faded mourning cloth. Inside lay a diamond, flawless, colorless, and cold. But according to the archives of the House of Duval, every woman who ever wore it lost her husband within 13 days. They called it the Widow's Diamond. The stone's origin traces back to Versailles, 1711, during the reign of Louis XIV. It was cut from a 30-carat rough, mined in Golconda, India, and shaped into a perfect teardrop by royal jewelers. The first to wear it was Countess Adèle Duval, a young widow who remarried a French naval captain. 12 days after the wedding, he drowned off the coast of Brest. The Countess kept the diamond, claiming it wept with her. Weeks later, she vanished from her estate, her body never found, only her portrait left behind, eyes scratched out. When the revolution swept France, the diamond resurfaced. A noblewoman wore it to flee Paris disguised as a servant. She never reached the border. Each new owner met tragedy until the jewel disappeared into rumor. It was rediscovered in 1923 during a restoration of a noble crypt, resting inside the coffin of a woman holding it to her chest. Gemologists confirm it is a genuine Golconda Type 2-1 a diamond, the purest carbon known, worth over $6 million today. Yet, under magnification, minute red inclusions appear, not ruby dust, but oxidized hematite, resembling dried blood trapped inside crystal. No attempt to polish them out has ever succeeded. Some say the inclusions are iron from old jewelry. Others whisper that they're the souls of the men who died loving the women who wore it. Today, the Widow's Diamond remains locked in the Musée de l'Homme, sealed under glass, unexhibited for over 40 years. Every curator who proposed displaying it lost their spouse within the year. If this story unsettled you, leave a comment. Would you dare to wear a jewel that mourns every love it touches? And before we move on, do you believe objects can absorb emotion, or is grief itself the oldest curse in history? Rank number 3, the Mirror Emerald, the gem that remembers faces. Deep in the jungles of Peru, where mist curls through the ruins of forgotten temples, an expedition in 1937 uncovered a treasure unlike any other, a gem that didn't just reflect light, it reflected memory. It became known as the Mirror Emerald, the gem that remembers faces. The discovery was made inside a collapsed chamber near Cusco, believed to be an Inca sanctuary dedicated to Mama Quila, the moon goddess. At the center stood a golden idol, and within its chest, set like a heart, was the emerald, polished into a perfect oval, yet disturbingly uneven in its reflection. When archaeologist Dr. Henri Valdez first gazed into it, he swore he saw not his own face, but a woman's, weeping silently. The gem was unlike any emerald known to science, Chemical tests showed traces of chromium and vanadium, typical of Colombian stones. But this one contained mercury, an element never before found in emeralds. Theories suggest it was altered by ancient priests, possibly through ritual fire, to trap the spirit of the moon. But what made it infamous wasn't its composition. It was what happened afterward. Within 6 months of removing it from the temple, 3 members of Valdez's team died under mysterious circumstances. The last survivor, his assistant Maria Esteves, returned the gem to the museum in Lima, claiming that each night new faces appeared within it, like portraits waiting to be remembered. She died in her sleep 2 weeks later, her body found beside a sketchbook filled with drawings of strangers no one could identify. Today, the mirror emerald is kept in a sealed exhibit in the Museo Nacional del Perú, valued at over $4 million, but never displayed to the public. Under infrared light, researchers report faint silhouettes forming and fading, as if something inside the stone still moves. Local shamans say the emerald is alive. It doesn't reflect your face. It shows who the gem wants you to see. If this story fascinated you, leave a comment. Would you dare to look into a gem that remembers the dead? And before we continue deeper into the vault of forbidden stones, do you think memory can live inside matter? Or do we only see what our fears choose to reveal? Rank number 2. The Serpent's Ruby. The blood of Nagendra. Hidden in the dense jungles of Kerala, southern India, deep within the crumbling ruins of an ancient serpent temple, archaeologists once unearthed a gemstone that legend says was never meant to see daylight again. It was a ruby unlike any other, dark crimson veined with black, beating faintly under light like a living heart. They called it the serpent's ruby, the blood of Nagendra. According to temple records written in Sanskrit, this stone was once the eye of Nagendra, the serpent king, guardian of the underworld. It was said to be born from the blood of his final battle, crystallized by divine fire when the god Vishnu sealed the gates between worlds. For centuries it was kept in the shrine of fangs, worshipped but never touched, until one fateful monsoon, a group of British explorers pried open the temple and carried the gem away. Within days, the first man began complaining of nightmares, visions of serpents wrapping around his throat, whispering his name. He was later found dead, with 2 small puncture marks on his neck, but no trace of venom. One by one, the expedition members vanished or died under inexplicable circumstances. When the ruby finally resurfaced in London decades later, its new owner, a gem trader, mysteriously suffocated in his sleep. Geologically, experts confirm the ruby's structure is extraordinary. It's a rare pigeon blood corundum with traces of iron, chromium, and serpentine inclusions, a combination unseen in nature. Its optical spectrum reveals faint fluctuations, as though the gem absorbs heat and energy from its surroundings. Some even claim it grows warmer when held, as if the serpent still stirs inside. Today, the serpent's ruby is locked inside the Indian Museum of Kolkata, valued at over $6 million, but permanently removed from public display. Priests still visit its vault twice a year, performing ancient rites of cleansing, not out of ritual, but caution. Local legends say that anyone who stares too long into its red core will hear Nagendra's breath, and their dreams will never again be silent. If this story struck you with awe or fear, leave a comment. Would you dare to hold a gem that breathes? And before we reveal the final cursed relic, do you believe legends die? Or do they simply wait, sleeping beneath the earth for someone to wake them again? Rank number 1. The Bloodstone of Babylon. The gem that whispers names. Beneath the sand-choked ruins of ancient Babylon, where the Euphrates once carved a path of gold through empire and myth, a team of archaeologists uncovered something that was never meant to be found. Inside a sealed basalt coffin, beneath layers of clay tablets and ritual ash, they discovered a small blood-red gem set in a bronze amulet engraved with cuneiform. When the dust cleared, the translator whispered a single line carved around its edge. "Speak not its name, for it already knows yours." That was the day the world met the Bloodstone of Babylon. The gem that whispers names. At first glance, it appeared to be a deep red jasper flecked with gold veins, no larger than a fingernail. But under magnification, the veins weren't mineral. They were tiny inscriptions, microscopic letters repeating a single word, Shedu, the Babylonian word for spirit. Geochemically, the stone doesn't match any known source in Mesopotamia. Spectrographic testing revealed traces of iron oxide and human hemoglobin preserved for over 3,000 years, as if the gem had absorbed the blood of its maker. Within days of the discovery, strange incidents began. At night, team members heard their own names whispered in Akkadian, the language of the tablets found beside the amulet. One researcher fled camp, claiming the stone had called to her. She was later found wandering miles away, her voice hoarse, repeating the same phrase, "It remembers." After 3 more inexplicable events, the artifact was transferred under heavy guard to the British Museum, where it remains today, sealed in a lead-lined box, catalogued simply as Item 119B. Even there, curators refuse to handle it directly. When light passes through its surface, the stone projects faint vibrations, recorded on audio as whispered syllables matching the names of past handlers. Its estimated value is impossible to determine, not because of rarity, but because no one dares to own it. Some believe it's not a gemstone at all, but a vessel, a prison carved for something that once spoke too loudly to the gods. If this story made you shiver, leave a comment. Would you dare to listen if a stone whispered your name? And before our journey ends, do you think curses are born from superstition or from truths humanity was never meant to unearth? We have reached the end of our descent through temples, oceans, tombs, and the shadows of human desire. 10 gemstones, 10 curses, each one a reminder that the line between beauty and danger is as thin as a cut facet catching light. From the bloodstone of Babylon, whispering in forgotten tongues, to the serpent's ruby, warm with something that should not be alive. These were not just treasures of the earth. They were mirrors of us. Our greed, our longing, our need to touch eternity, even when it burns. History records them as objects of misfortune. But perhaps the truth is simpler. The curse never lived inside the stone. It lived inside the hearts of those who couldn't look away. Somewhere tonight, one of these relics rests behind glass, silent, still, waiting. And maybe, just maybe, if you listen closely enough, you'll hear it breathe again. If this journey through the cursed and the forbidden moved you, leave a comment below, even a single word, so I know you were here. Your presence is what keeps these stories alive. And if life pulls you away, save this video, come back when the world feels ordinary, and let these forgotten stones remind you that the earth still remembers everything we fear to believe. Until our next discovery, this is World of Gem, signing off from the edge of myth and history, because the past never truly sleeps. It only waits to be found again.